All right, continuing this evening, everyone. It's the MMAOB Daily Podcast for Monday, August 15th. Your host is always Adam Martin, joined by my co-host here, Big Marcel. We just wrapped up UFC San Diego, Marcel, and some other cards this week. It was a really fun show. Glad to be back Mondays, guys. Now we're going to be previewing UFC 278, Usman Edwards 2. We'll also talk about Dana White's Contender Series 50 and PFL 9. So, Marcel, looking forward to this. As I always ask you, your overall thoughts on this 278 card before we break down all the fights.
I'd say it's a top-heavy card. I don't think it's like super amazing, but maybe the almost every time I think that the card delivers. So
True.
I think the top 3 fights are cool. Some fights are pretty intriguing as well, but overall, for pay-per-view, man, probably the best pay-per-view we have looking forward to is 280. But 279 is probably even worse than this one. So I think this is an okay pay-per-view, but personally, I would never pay $80 for it. But right. I'm not an American, so I don't have to do it.
I agree. Like the prelims are not the best batch, but the main card is pretty good. It's top heavy though, like you said, right? Yeah. It's a top heavy card. Anyways, there's a lot of big favorites on this card too. Probably be an upset or two we didn't see coming. I don't know who it's going to be, but we'll talk about the fights. Looking forward to this one. And just quickly, I don't know. I don't really watch boxing enough to know, man. I'm sorry. Anthony Joshua's a really good fighter, though, but I have no idea. Usyk's good, too. All right, guys, we're going to start off here with the flyweights, Marcel. We're going to start off with the first fight using UFCstats.com. They finally put in the Maverick Young fight, Marcel, finally. Like, I don't know why it took so long to get that fight in there. Did you I don't know. I kept refreshing it all week, and I'm like, is this fight even official? Like, I wasn't even sure at that point. Anyways, let's go into this, Marcel. I'm looking forward to it. Daniel Da Silva versus Victor Altamirano starting off the card here, guys, in the flyweight division. And Marcel, we have Victor Altamirano is the favorite -200. Daniel Da Silva +170. Who do you think wins this fight, man?
I think the odds are too high, in my opinion. I think it should be more like an even one. I think pick and fight. Altamirano, he got that loss, split decision loss in his UFC debut. I think a fight that could go both ways. I think you picked Carlos Hernandez back then in that fight, so you got it right. I picked Altamirano. For that, he got the win over Carlos Candelario, a close fight as well. If you look at Daniel Da Silva or Daniel Lacerda, whatever you want to call him, got that fight against Molina, which I thought was a really good fight, but he lost that fight. And you picked Figueiredo against him, which was a really good pick from you with that quick submission win in the first round. Yep. Still think Daniel Lacerda Da Silva has a lot to offer in the UFC. I think he's a talent. I just think he didn't look great so far, although the Molina fight wasn't that bad in my opinion. Altamirano, decent fighter. Overall, I think he looked okay, but I don't see anything special. Although I think this will be another close fight between these two. I think that we will probably see another split decision. Wouldn't be surprised by that at all. I still feel more for the Brazilian dude, so I'm going with the first win of Daniel Lacerda's UFC career.
He has to win this fight to keep his spot on the roster. I'd say that, because if he loses, he's getting cut. This is kind of a tricky fight to call, right, Marcel? Like, there's not a lot to go on with the Silva at this point. Like, he hasn't looked great in the UFC, but before the UFC, looked pretty good in the regional scene, obviously. And then Altamirano, like, had a close fight, could have won the fight. He didn't look great. And then the other fight he even get in the UFC, Dana White thought he lost against Candelario. That's why they signed the other guy, right? So I don't know what to make of him either, honestly. I'm picking Altamirano, guys, by decision. I think that's how he wins this fight. But, it could be a surprising story here with this. So it wouldn't completely shock me if he won the fight either. It's kind of like lower level flyweights, I think, Marcel. These guys are not like close to the top 50 by any means. So, all right, let's get to the next fight here, guys. We got Aoriqileng against Jay Perrin. I'm looking forward to this one, Marcel, talking about this one with you. Aoriqileng is the favorite right now, guys. He's -165. Jay Perrin, the Joker, +140. He's got the Joker tattoo and everything, Marcel. What's your pick?
Yeah, literally everything is almost equal between the two of them, right? I mean, not the record, but they're the same reach, same height, same weight. So
Aoriqileng has a 2-inch reach advantage according to UFC stats. So
I thought it was even. Okay. UFC stats, they fuck up all the time. Not just kidding. Maybe I fucked up. I really like what I saw from Aoriqileng so far. I think the first fight in UFC was against Molina. There was a fight of the night. That was an amazing fight. Second fight against Cody Durden was a fight he could have got the win as well. It was a very short, very close fight in my opinion. And the last fight against Kamaru was really good in my opinion. He did really good in that fight. If you look at Jay Perrin, it's difficult to say. You know, we only saw him one time in the UFC. I know he did very well in CES and then Cage Titans. But still, you know, he fought against Batista, didn't do bad, lost unanimous decision on short notice. Man, I just think that Aoriqileng is a talent. You know that he's. Perrin is good as well. Don't get me wrong, but Aoriqileng is a talent. And this fucking phone, shut the fuck up. Aoriqileng is a talent, and I go with him. I think he really wins the decision here.
I really like him here. I gotta be honest first. I really like him in this fight. Like, I think the line's good. Minus 165 on this guy. I favor him to win this fight for sure. Mm-hmm. Jay Perrin's like not bad. He's definitely decent, but I think this guy beats him everywhere. Honestly, I think the matches on the ground. I think on the stand-up, he's got more power. He's probably the better striker. I think he's just got more experience. He's got 32 fights. Like, he's got a lot of fights. So for me, like, yeah, man, I think he wins, Marcel. I'm pretty confident in him, to be honest with you. I think this guy's legit. Jay Perrin, I know he's like a coach. I think at Syndicate, he's one of their coaches there. Obviously, he's a decent fighter. He made it to the UFC. He's got some good wins. The regional scene, like Johnny Campbell, it's a decent one and everything. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't see. He's like decent everywhere or so, but nothing special in my opinion. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I think Aoriqileng's a talent. I'm with you completely. I like him to win this fight. You think he stops him? You think he finishes or decision? Because this guy's only been finished once. So
I have a decision win.
That's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking he's going to go the distance, but he wouldn't surprise me if he did finish him either. Because that last fight against, I know Cameron Else isn't good, guys. I get it, but like. The pounding he put on was so nasty. So I like this guy, Marcel. I think he's gonna get this fight, guys. And I like the line, man. I think it's cheap. All right, let's get to the next fight here. Amir Albazi against Francisco Figueiredo. I'm surprised this isn't up more in the card. I got to be honest with you. I think originally it was on the main card and they dropped it. Albazi's one of the biggest favorites on the card, minus 390. Figueiredo plus 320. I'll just say this right now: the odds seem a little high. I just want to get your thoughts on the fight.
The odds are a little bit high, yeah, but I agree that Albazi is the favorite here. I think Albazi is a very solid guy. I like what I saw of him in Brave, and also when he fought in Bellator. I only saw one fight of his in Bellator. I think that was the finish against what's his name again? Bejinari, I think he fought. Saw a win against him there. He got one loss on his record. It's against Jose Shorty Torres in Brave, you know, but still. Like what I saw so far from in the UFC. If you look at Francisco Figueiredo, he's the younger brother of the champ, Davison Figueiredo. Got a good win in his UFC debut against Jerome Rivera, but to be really honest, everybody beats Jerome Rivera in the UFC. You know, then lost to Malcolm Gordon. For many people, I think was a surprising loss back then, and then a great win, let you call it, against Daniel da Silva. Man. I would favor still Albazi. Like I said, you know, I think Albazi would win. I don't go with a stoppage. I think he dominates it with the wrestling. I think a decision win for Albazi.
I'm picking it too, so I just think the odds are high, like especially for a flyweight fight. We know they're competitive, and we just saw a massive upset last week. Figueiredo could win this fight. He's decent. He's better than people think. I think, you know. Maybe if you were just doing MMA math, I know he lost to Malcolm Gordon, and obviously Albazi beat him, but I don't know if that's going to play in the factor here. But either way, like. Yeah, I favor Albazi, but it's not as high as the line, Marcel, if that makes sense. Like, I favor him slightly, but I don't favor him as an 80% favorite here. At the same time, though, I don't really have interest in Figueiredo either as an underdog. So I'll pick Albazi, Marcel. I'll take him by decision like you. That's my pick. So we have the same pick here. I just don't see value on this line. I'm passing on this one personally. There's other favorites in this card that I like better. That's the next fight here. And, well, this is one of them. Actually, no, sorry. That's the next fight. We got AJ Fletcher against Ange Loosa. This is actually a good fight, too. AJ Fletcher, the Ghost, Marcel, minus 150, Ange Loosa, plus 130. So what do you think, man? Two guys are pretty talented fighters. What do you think? I
think you go first in this one.
Yeah, I like both guys. Obviously, Loosa, I really like coming off Contender, and I know he lost to Della Maddalena, but like he still looked good. And then obviously, John Howard gets in the UFC. It was short notice, but he just didn't look very good against Lunar Lizez, so I'm not sure what to think about him. But at the same time, like he does trade Killcliff. He is a good athlete. He has a 7-inch reach advantage in this fight too against AJ Fletcher, who I'm surprised like is fighting at 170 with this small reach, 67 inches or so. Aoriqileng has a longer reach than this guy. He's fighting, 35 pounds less or whatever. So Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll drop to 155 in the future or something. Anyways, let's talk about Fletcher. I think he's pretty good too. I thought he looked good against Semmelsberger. He lost, but he did well at points in that fight. He looked really good, and then obviously looked amazing on Contender with the flying knee. I think this one's a little tricky just because like against that reach, Marcel. But based on how they've looked in the UFC, I have to go Fletcher. Because I just didn't like how Loosa looked. But again, it was a different opponent. And quite frankly, maybe that's the guys would have did the same thing to Fletcher. So I really don't know. Fletcher by decision because Loosa's so tough. That's my pick. Curious to hear your thoughts now.
I have to laugh about Juanis' reply there because I'm going with the underdog here. I'm taking Ange Loosa.
I don't think I've ever picked up on that. That's hilarious.
Me actually, me neither. So it's funny. I'm going with Ange Loosa here. I agree with you. He didn't look great against Laziz, but it was really super short notice. I think it was a 3-4 they noticed fight. And I like what I saw from him before. AJ Fletcher, got to give it to him as well. And the Semmelsberger fight looked good early. Then when it got into the later rounds, didn't look that good anymore. And this Leonardo Damiani win in Contender Series, that was the first fight of last year's Contender Series, was really good. So I think it will be a close fight. I'm taking Loosa by decision here, but fun one, I think.
There you go. All right, let's get to the next one. This is what I was alluding to. Miranda Maverick and Shanna Young. She's a massive favorite here, Marcel. Minus 490, Young plus 390. I think she should be like minus 1,000. I absolutely think she wins this fight, guys. I'm convinced she wins. They've already fought before, and she dominated her and submitted her. What's changed? The only thing that's changed is Miranda's gotten better. That's the only thing that's changed. I'm convinced she wins, Marcel. I think she does. I think she wins inside the distance. So, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not going on a limb here saying a minus 500 favorite, but there's no props right now yet that I see. But under 2.5 is plus 100. I think she finishes her. I'm convinced she finishes this fight. Probably submission. That's how Young gets finished, but it could be a TKO from ground and pound too. I absolutely love Miranda Maverick in this fight. This is an easy fight for her. It feels like the UFC's giving her a layup after the last couple of fights. Mazza was kind of an easy fight too, but you know what I mean? Blanchfield and Barber with that robbery. I'm convinced she wins, Marcel. I'm guessing you're picking her too.
I have only one thing to say about this fight. What's the fucking point of the fight? I mean, why? Maverick is like almost close to top 15.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing against Shanna Young, but she isn't, in my opinion. I think Maverick can put up good fights with a lot of girls in the top 15. She arguably beat Macy Barber, in my opinion. She didn't
definitely beat her in that fight. 100%.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
I think so. So it's just weird to me. Maverick wins. I'd say first round as well. So
yeah. I feel like this is probably one of those fights where like no one would fight her, and Young was like, "All right, I'll fight her again," because just to try to keep busy, I guess. I don't think she wins this fight. This is a bad fight for Shanna Young, especially coming off that win. You think she would want to fight someone she could beat? I think she gets destroyed in this fight. She gets finished in the first round. Sean Woodson against Luis Saldana, Marcel. The next fight here, interesting fight. At 145, you got the sniper here, minus 320, and Saldana plus 265. Two strikers, Marcel. I mean, this should be a good fight. Like, should be a fun fight for as long as it lasts. Two guys are going to stand and trade. Your opinion on this fight?
Yeah, man, Luis Saldana, the guy who gets decisions. Like, wow, he got this decision. No disrespect to the guy, but he got some favorable decisions from some judges, what I don't think he actually won. Sean Woodson is my Gerald Meerschaert, which Gerald Meerschaert's for you. I always pick wrong against Sean Woodson for some reason. When I pick him, he loses, and when I don't pick him, he wins. So this fight, I think Sean Woodson looked great lately. Luis Saldana actually didn't. We'll go to the judges' scorecards. Maybe Saldana gets another win for some reason. I look really like a Saldana hater. I'm not, but I just don't agree with the decisions he got.
I agree. By the way, I thought he lost to Griffin and to Susan. He could be 0-3, but somehow he's 2-1. So
exactly. So this time I'm going for Woodson. So guys, bet on Saldana, please. Woodson gets a finish here. I'm taking him by a third round finish.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm picking Woodson too. He's the clear favorite here. I'm still not like 100% sold on him or so. Like after that Rosa fight we got finished, like I think he's finishable. I think you could finish this guy, but he has looked good lately. Obviously, in the last fight looked amazing, but again, it was against the guys not in the UFC anymore, so that's the thing. But obviously, we've seen the guy's power. We saw it against Terrence McKinney with that crazy flying knee on Contender. Seeing the UFCs can go 3 rounds hard for the most part. He should win the fight, but you're right, Marcel. If it goes to the scorecards, you never know with these judges. You never know. get this comment quickly. What's the line going to be for McCann and Blanchfield? Blanchfield should be, I think she should be like minus 200, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be closer. Maybe she should be minus 300 even. Like, I think she wins that fight too, guys. Like, feel good about it. I think most people would agree with her being favored, but Molly's got the
McCann
flash.
against Blanchfield, or
Yeah, Blanchfield should be a big, I mean, not big favorite, but like a decent favorite.
I would put her minus 450.
Wow, big favorite. I mean, I don't blame you. Like, maybe. Like, I could be wrong. I just think, again, it's not like necessarily. I think the fight is easy for her, but there's hype on them, right? So there's no hype on them on the line. They bake that into the line too. And there's hype on Molly right now. All right, let's get to the next fight here, Marcel. We got Lucie Pudilova making her return to the UFC against Wu Yanan. Minus 130 Pudilova, plus 110 Yanan. What do you think?
Very low-level women fight should be lower on the card. That's what I think. Pudilova coming back to the UFC, right? She did very well outside the UFC after she got cut. After 4 losses, got 5 wins in six fights. There were lone loss against Talita Bernardo, who also fought in the UFC. Wu Yanan or Yanan Wu lost her last 3 fights. For some reason, got the fight of the night in her last fight against Mayra Bueno Silva. We still have no idea why, but we should ask Sean Shelby, McMahon, or Dana White for that. She only got 1 win in the UFC, and that was that real weird armbar against Laura Mueller. Remember back when she's actually a white belt back then. Yanan Wu, I don't know if she's still a white belt, but she got that win. What Glenn says, pretty much, yeah. I'm still picking Pudilova. I think she's a better fighter overall, so I'm taking Pudilova by decision.
Pudilova's 2-5 in the UFC, and Wuyan has 1-4. So combined, what is that, 3-9? I mean, it's like Chase Sherman record. He's 4-9 now. I mean, why is this so high in the card? Tell me, why is it so high in the card?
Oh, okay, the winner gets on the date with Chase Sherman. There you go. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know why it's so high on the card, man. It's like the highest women fight on the card of the women fights, I think, right?
Makes absolutely no sense to me at all. This fight should be on the early prelims. I mean, Francisco Figueiredo just got a submission or performance of the night. He should be on the main card. Or Aoriqileng. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. We're going to watch the fight. But this seems kind of weird that it's so high in the card. I'm also picking Pudilova, Marcel. She's looked good lately, obviously. But she hasn't been fighting UFC caliber fighters. And the one she did, Bernardo, she lost to her. So that's what scared me off about this fight. She's been looking good, but it's not in the UFC. Whereas Yanan's not looking good, but she's in the UFC. And to be fair, she's actually been competitive in her fights. Like the fight with Silva was very competitive. And actually, after Silva got the submission win, Marcel, that fight doesn't look so bad in hindsight, right? And same with Edwards, even. Like, she's on a roll, too. So, she's not great. The loser of this fight, I mean, they might get cut. I mean, I know Pudilova just got brought back, but she drops to 2-6, Marcel. Like, that's...
Are these prelims on ABC again?
Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know. We do have that channel in Canada, but I just watch it on TSN. So,
yeah.
UFC wants to spread the fights, I guess, but Figueiredo could easily be higher in the card. I don't think people are going to carry the win. I just think it's more of a respect thing, in my opinion. Maybe
I also put spread on my bread, but I saved the best one for last. You know what I mean? So
toilet break for Marcel. Is this true? You're gonna take your toilet break during this one?
yeah, probably.
Oh my god! All right, let's get to the next one here. Lightweight division: Leonardo Santos against Jared Gordon. Odds for this one they're high too. Minus 280 on Gordon, plus 235 on Leo Santos. Your thoughts?
Those odds are way too high for me, in my opinion. You know, I think Leonardo Santos can pull off a submission any moment. You know, but for some reason, I can't back him. You know, I can't back him here. I mean, he got 2 losses in a row. He's 42 years of age. You know, Jared Gordon is still a lot younger with 33. I know he lost to Grant Dawson last time out, but Grant Dawson is a legit prospect, in my opinion. Before that, looked pretty good, Jared Gordon. Unless he gets caught with something, I don't see him losing this fight. You know, is he going to finish Leonardo Santos? I'm not sure. So I'm taking Gordon with a decision win here. But I'm backing Jared Gordon. Yeah, I'll be surprised if Santos somehow can pull off the upset. So yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, I'm going to pick Gordon too, but like I'm really hesitant about this one. Like it's not confident by any means. I'm staying the fuck away from this fight. I'm just picking because of the age. That's the only reason I'm picking him. Is because the guy's 42. And I don't like picking guys that are that old. But you look closer at the last 2 fights or so. He beat the fucking shit out of Figueiredo in that first round. I think it was a 10-8 round, was it not? Like, it was dominant. Let me check the strikes. 39-8, and he knocked him down. Marcelo was like a 10-8 round, and then gassed out and they got finished. I think it's Grant Dawson. I think he was up on the scorecards, I want to say, or it was tied or something, and Grant Dawson knocked him out literally with 1 second left.
Yeah.
And before that, he had won 6 straight fights, including over Stevie Ray, which looks amazing in hindsight. Kevin Lee, which was a great win at the time. It's a huge upset. Like, and Adriano Martins, that's the guy who knocked out Islam. So, like, he's got some big wins on his resume. And obviously, amazing on the ground. We're just talking about these knockouts. He's got knockouts and submissions. I'm almost like talking myself into picking him. The reason I can't is because of the age. I just can't pick guys 42, you know? That's why the line's probably where it is. But Jared Gordon is like, he's good, Marcel, but he's not great in my opinion. 6-4 in the UFC. He's kind of like a guy that's, he's inconsistent. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And he's been knocked out brutally. Now, that was at 145. I think at 155, he's more durable. He's a better fighter. Obviously, trains at my camp, Killcliff. So that's another thing I'm going for. But, like, I have no interest in betting him on this fight. Marcel got taken down 7 times the last fight and got submitted. Would it really shock you if Leo Santos, the guy who's like a distinguished black belt, submitted him? I don't think it'd be completely shocking either. And also, Leo could knock him out. Leo's got a big reach advantage here, too. I really want to pick him, guys. I just can't pick a 42-year-old, but I hope he wins. I really hope he does because this line is really crazy, in my opinion. Do you have any thoughts on what I just said, Marcel?
Yeah, I agree with you there, man. I said I take Jared Gordon, but I'm not sure. I still would be surprised if he finishes Jared Gordon, although I'm not sure with my pick. So that's what I said.
Good stuff. All right, let's get to the next fight here. We got Harry Hunsucker opening up the prelims, or opening up the pay-per-view, which I should say, Marcel.
It's so common to say the prelims.
He really should be. Like, so to watch Harry Hunsucker, you got to pay your $80. Cough it up, guys. Dana White's like sitting there counting his money while you're watching Harry Hunsucker get knocked out again. This fight should not be made. It doesn't make sense. Minus 740 Pedro, plus 540 Hunsucker. I'm going to start here. As soon as this fight got announced, I remember where I was. I was actually with you. I was reading your tweet about it. I think you tweeted it out, I believe. This is back in June. I was on my trip out east, Marcel, and Anita was driving the car, and I was on the phone reading, and I go, like, wait, what? There's no way this fight's real. Harry Hunsucker is fighting Tyson Pedro. This makes no sense. And I said he should be minus 1,000. Some books have him at minus 900. That's what I'm seeing. That's the highest line out there. FanDuel has him at minus 900. Most have him between like minus 800, 700, minus 800. Tyson Pedro wins this fight all day. I'm 100% convinced. This Harry Hunsucker a puncher's chance, I guess. That's plus 1,000. I think if you're going to bet on Hunsucker, you have to just take him by knockout. But why would you bet on him here? I think Pedro knocks him out. Maybe submits him even. It wouldn't completely surprise you submitted him. Pedro by knockout is minus 200. That is crazy. Like, it's not wrong though. It's not wrong because that's how everyone's thinking. But if you look at submissions plus 300, he could submit him. So maybe that's something to keep in mind. He's a massive favorite. He's going to win the fight. Maybe there's a value in that submission part because he does have a good submission game, but most likely a knockout here for our boy Tyson Pedro Marcel. I don't see Harry Hunsucker winning this fight. I think he gets knocked out. I think he gets cut. What do you think?
Dude, I mean, how much does the UFC love Tyson Pedro, right? I mean, they tried to match him up with Vinicius Moreira, then they match him up with Ike Villanueva, now they match him up with Harry Hunsucker. I mean, Harry Hunsucker hasn't done, no disrespect to the guy, but he hasn't done one good thing in the UFC so far. He got beaten in Contender Series by Jared Fondera. Then he wins at HR MMA. Then he gets called.
Hard Rock MMA.
Yeah, gets knocked the fuck out by Tai Tuivasa, which is actually the brother-in-law of Tyson Pedro.
Yeah.
Then he fights Justin Tafa, gets knocked the hell out in the first round.
He might be related to them too. Who knows? He's exciting all these like guys from Australia, Polynesia area.
Yeah, and now he has to fight Tyson Pedro. That's why I said earlier in the podcast or the last podcast, after this fight, he should fight Jimmy Crute to complete the how do you say that? The quartet or whatever. Yeah. And I mean, who doesn't pick Pedro here in the first round with knockouts? You know, by the way, it's the first fight for Hunsucker going to 205. This is not a 265. It's a light heavyweight. But still, I favor Pedro, man. I think he knocks him out in the first round. I think anything less would be bad for Pedro, to be honest.
I'm with you. I agree. I just, like, there's no value on these lines, though. Like, even to get a specific first round knockout is minus 160. I mean, maybe that's the way to go. Maybe. But, like, just say Hunsucker's tough enough to survive in the second round. Then you're like, oh, man, you know? Pedro inside the distance is minus 600. I mean, he should win the fight inside the distance. Like, do you think there's any chance he could win decision? Because it's plus 800. Is there any chance that Hunsucker is going to be tough enough to go to 3? Is there any chance?
I don't see it happening because Pedro also has the knockout power to knock somebody out. You know what I mean? It's not like he's not fighting Raniaya or somebody. You know what I mean? So, and then he probably would get submitted. But knockout first round.
it's just tough. It's just a hard fight to bet just because the line is so high, and then even like the round one is -200. I have to like lay juice for 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes for him to win. Again, he should win in the first round by knockout. I think we're picking. I'm just saying, like from a betting value perspective, like to pigeon yourself into like a first 5 minute finish is always kind of tough for laying juice. If it was +200, it's a different story. But I'm just saying he should win this fight by first round finish. There's no doubt in my mind. Anyways, let's get some comments here. Alex Ramirez, great show. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Hunsucker's never seen round two. There you go, man. He's not going to see round in this fight too. So there you go. -160, first round knockout. I think we're all picking that. Is there value? I just hate saying there's value on like a specific prop at -160 in the first round by a knockout. Like you have to not only pick the round, you have to pick the method too. That is the way I'm going to. I think we're going to win he wins the fight, but again, it's kind of tricky. But you know what? Thinking about it more, Marcel, like anything else is kind of a surprise, to be honest with you. You know, even a second round is a surprise. So the odds makers have this one figured out, guys. There's not much value on it from a betting perspective. The odds makers did a good job here. I think they did really well with this fight. They make it hard to bet. Even the props are tough to bet, but yeah, it's going to be quick. I mean, could it be the first minute? That's this guy's saying minute props. Maybe that's the way to go. Look at the minute props. Marcel, like I think we're all confident he wins in the first round for the most part, right? Mm-hmm. So you could look at those specific minutes. Again, that's even harder to predict. But if it's like +500 for the first minute, it wouldn't surprise you. Didn't Ty knocked him out 1 minute, right? I think was it 40 seconds?
Oh yeah,
49 seconds. That could happen here. Honestly, first exchange, he could just get clipped. So yeah. To be fair, Ty and Tafa are harder to say than Pedro, and Harry's better than Ike. Is Harry better than Ike? Is he, Marcel?
I don't. That Ty and Tafa are harder hitters than Pedro, yeah, maybe, but Harry better than I don't know. Maybe let them fight each other. I feel like Nereva's gone, right?
Is he still in the? No, he got cut, right?
He got cut.
Well, he wasn't good. Like, just to be fair, he was he had one win, right? Didn't he knock someone out? Vinicius Moreira.
Yeah,
guy that gets knocked out by a stiff breeze or whatever.
For some reason, won against John Allan on the Contender Series. So yeah.
All right, let's get to the next fight here. We got Alexandr Romanov, King Kong against Marcin Tybura. What kind of nickname is that? It's just like half of his it's just his last name with one letter missing. Like it's not really a nickname. It's not great. All right, let's get to this fight. -435, Romanov +350. Tybura. I'll start with this one too. I think Romanov wins. Marcel again. I mean, I'm not gonna pick against this guy until he loses. And even then, I might pick him. I know like the level of competition. Honestly, Marcel is pretty bad though. Like Sherman, who's I know he didn't look good in his last fight. I'll give him that. But like he's barely UFC caliber. Vandera, I don't even know how he's in the UFC anymore, quite frankly. He's 1-5. He might be 1-6 after this one. Juan Espino, okay, Juan's pretty good, but he's also old, right? So, and then Marcos Rogero with Delima. I guess that's an okay win. Delima's not bad. He did look good. And then Roque Martinez is not in the UFC. So I'm just saying, like, the level of competition sucks. It's pretty bad, Marcel. You know, it's just not good. This is a step up. He's fighting a top 10 guy now. He was fighting all run ranked guys, now he's fighting top 10. But it's just, I think it's a winnable fight because Tybura kind of, if he wins, it would be wrestling based, right, for the most part. And I think, obviously, Romanov's got the better grappling. So I think Romanov just takes him down, Marcel, and takes him down, controls him. I know Tybura's got good takedown defense. They're going to give him credit for that, but I still didn't get him down. Now, what do you think? Like, I think he gets him down. The question for me is, does he win by stoppage or is it a decision? Because Tybura, he's been knocked out, but it's been a while, so it's possible he could just kind of be a grinding type of fight where he just like holds on to him for 3 rounds. That's the only thing I'm having difficulty with as far as like the method goes. I guess I'll lean towards a TKO ground and pound, but like it wouldn't surprise if he did hold on for dear life and get there. But yeah, I think Romanov wins, Marcel. I just have some concerns about the level of competition. That's all. What do you think?
I think Tybura knocks him out if they were both playable characters in EA Sports UFC 4. But in real life, no, I'm going with Romanov, man. I like Romanov. Yep. I think he had one not so good fight against Juan Espino, you know, where he got like knee in the nuts, and it was not a hard knee, but he had some. How do you say that? Some. I don't know how you say it in English, man. I forgot the word, but he was in the hospital for 2 weeks, I think, because he couldn't move his leg for some reason. Yeah, I think Romanov is more impressive. You know, I think his wrestling is better. Stand up is okay. You know, I think he can get Tybura down. Might make it a nasty fight. I'm going with the decision win for.
See, there you go. Let me look at the props. I want to see the props on this one. We have props. Roll up my TKOs plus 140. Romanov by decision, plus 300. That's interesting. And then submission is plus 400. You could submit him too, Marcel. It's possible if you could like, get his neck or something, or even that forearm choke thing he did to Lima. I think he wins, but I just have some concerns about the level of competition. That's all I'm saying. Like this guy has 15 fights to burn the UFC against pretty good fighters, like a lot of elite guys, Marcel. Like even in his first couple of fights, he was fighting good guys like Verdum, Derek Lewis, etc. So he's never really fought easy guys, to be fair to him. That's the only concern I have. And also his takedown defense is 82. So I think this is really good matchmaking, to be honest with you. It's just a good fight. Remember, this guy beat Spivak 2 years ago, Marcel, and that win looks pretty good right now. And the way he beat him, Spivak's a very good grappler, right? So that's the only concern I have.
Yeah, the pinched nerve. That's what I should say.
People were saying blue balls and stuff.
Flowing. Yeah, the pinched nerve. So he couldn't move his leg for a very long time. He was in the hospital, and people were like, "You're faking it," but it was really not fake, And I understand if you look at it from the TV, you're like, it wasn't a hard knee at all, but there was definitely something going on.
And Loco brought up the fact that the last Salt Lake City card in 2016, Rodriguez Caceres, Tybura knocked out Victor Pesta with a head kick on that card. So that's interesting. They brought him back for the same card. He's the only guy in this card that fought in that card. Actually, Chase Sherman, we brought up twice. He also fought in that card. So that's interesting. All right. I think that's it for this one. Couple comments here, guys. Tybura's never been sub. No, he's gonna be hard to sub. That's what I'm thinking, ground and pound. But again, he's pretty good, man. Like this fight's not as clear cut, I think, as look at it. See, that's what I'm saying. It's true. It's an interesting fight, right? Like Tybura has a good takedown defense. This guy likes Tybura. Juan likes Tybura. It's interesting. Tybura's going to Magnum, possibly. Has Tybura fought any crop? That's the problem. Has he fought any wrestling heavy grappler? That's why I'm saying, like, with the 82%, that's the only problem. Spivak was, I guess, a really good grappler, but he only attempted one takedown in that fight for some reason, which is just weird. And then Verdum would be the other good grappler. He lost that fight. Verdum went 1 for 7 in that fight in takedowns. That's really it. I think those are the only two elite grapplers that he's fought, quote unquote. He's mostly strikers, so that's the other thing. So it's 82%, but he's fought mostly strikers. So like you have to always keep that in mind too with the numbers, right? Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. Here's when we get to the really good ones. We got Jose Aldo against Merab Valashvili. Love this fight, Marcel. Perfect fight in this division. The winner, I mean, depending on how impressive they are, they could get a title shot potentially, but I would assume that, again, the winner of that fight with Yanan O'Malley is probably slightly edge up on this fight in Vera. Odds for this one, Valashvili is the favorite, Marcel, minus 125, Aldo plus 105. This, according to the odds makers, is the closest fight in the card. What's your opinion on this one?
Yeah, I agree. That's a close fight. If you look at Merab Valashvili, lots of takedowns all the time. But the thing is, I think DC said it before, if you need like 14 takedowns in a fight, it's not always great. You know what I mean? Because that means that you can't keep the guy on the ground. Although, dude, I always call him like Mr. Duracell, because dude can go. I still think he can go 10 rounds and doesn't get tired. It's crazy. Thing is, for Merab, as long as Aldo is a champion, he's not fighting for a title because both guys said they wouldn't fight each other. Aldo, I think Aldo looked good, and if Aldo uses his leg kicks in this one, he has some solid takedown defense. He can get it difficult for Merab, For some weird reason, I think Aldo is going to look really good in this fight. I think he's the underdog, but I'm taking Aldo here, dude. I think Aldo wins the decision here.
I'm taking Aldo by decision too. So we have the same lean here, Marcel. The reason is because of that last fight with Marlon Moraes, where he just completely blitzed Rob, and Rob did survive that, and that's good for him. But like Aldo, if that happens with Aldo, not only will he finish him, but if he does it, he won't gas like Moraes did. You can't count on that happening. Here's the thing. I really like Rob, okay? I really like him. He's a lot of fun to watch. Even though he's a grappling heavy fighter, I think he's an exciting guy, But here's the thing. Half the guys he's fought are not even in the UFC roster anymore. Marcel, honestly, like the competition is night and day here, guys. Like Moraes is retired. Stamens, he's still in the roster, but he's like not top 15. Dodson's not in the UFC. Gustavo Lopez is not in the UFC. Casey Kenny's in the UFC, but he's not a top 15 guy. Brad Dacona is not in the UFC, and then Terry Williams not. Like most of these guys are just not very good. That's the thing, Marcel. That's why I'm a little bit unsure about how good he is. I know our boy Marcus. I don't know if he's in the chat right now. I know Marcus really likes Merab. I'm not sure, Marcus. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. I know you're betting on him. You're a very good bettor, so maybe you got a good read in this one. But I think that Aldo keeps it standing and outstrikes him, Marcel. That's what I see happening here. Like, probably decision. That's how he's been winning, but couldn't knock him out as well. I like Aldo in this fight, though. I think he's looked really good lately. Looked great against Font, Munoz, Vera even. Like, didn't look great in that fight, but he got the win.
Right.
He's looked good. But despite being so old and having so much wear and tear, the guy's still winning fights at the highest level of the sport. He's an absolute legend. I fucking love this guy. Marcel, the first time I saw him fight, he was in WEC. It was 12, 13 years ago. He's still doing well. It's amazing. I think he wins. I like him as an underdog. He's one of the underdogs in this card. Dude, like, go ahead.
Aldo is still the GOAT at featherweight, in my opinion. I don't say he's the best fighter there. Although obviously he's the best fighter that was at 145, but he's still the GOAT there for what he did. Yeah, man. I feel like this is a favorable matchup for him. That's what I feel. And Marab, no disrespect. I gotta say, the 2 losses on Marab's record in the UFC shouldn't have been 2 losses, in my opinion. Definitely the Science fight, he won that one, and the Simone fight, really weird stuff went on in the last 10 seconds or whatever. So, and don't forget, he got a huge win over Rafael Stotts back in the day. The only loss on Rafael Stotts' record. So he's very good, but I'm still picking Aldo.
It's just amazing how many years this guy's been fighting. I remember when he had that first pay-per-view for the WC against Faber. That was so long ago. Dude, I was at his debut in the UFC against Mark Hominick. I was at that fight. That fight was legendary. That 5th round where Hominick came back almost won the fight. Stuff of legends. Actually, the first UFC card I went to was in Detroit 123. Yeah. He got presented the belt that day. I don't know if you know that. It was the featherweight title. So, man, he's an absolute fucking legend. Like, he's got to be top 10 pound for pound of all time, right? Definitely, right? Top 10?
Yeah, in my opinion.
100%. He's an absolute, and he might still win the belt again. That's so crazy. Another weight class too. How crazy is that? We all thought he would go up to 155.
Yeah,
we never thought he'd go down. 135. How crazy is this? Guy's so good. I don't think he retires anytime soon. I gotta be honest. After the fight with Peter Yan, I'm like, this guy's completely done, and he's not. He's still looking amazing.
Yeah.
All those plus 115, not bad price for the guy I think he should win. I think of all the underdogs so far, he's the one I like the most. All right, let's get to the co-main event here, Marcel. We have Paulo Costa against Luke Rockhold. Finally, this fight's happening. I feel like we've been talking about this fight for a while, on and off. Paulo Costa is a decent-sized favorite here, minus 315, plus 260 on Rockhold. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I mean, Paulo Costa really kind of disappointed me last time, the way he handled all the stuff with Vettori. He didn't give a shit. And honestly, I don't give a shit about him anymore, I wonder if there's going to be a 185 where he's going to pull the same thing like he wants to fight at 205 again with Luke Rockhold, because I don't think Luke Rockhold is anything for it if that happens. Fight got already been rebooked twice, I think, because Costa wanted to be rebooked. For me, it's like the UFC, if he doesn't make weight this time, they should move him up to 205 permanently and never let him fight at 185 again. Rockhold, last fight in 2019, I think, hasn't fought for a long time, was at 205 back then against Jan Blachowicz. Actually, that was the fight for Jan Blachowicz that made him go to the top of the division at 205, in my opinion. That was when the people started to notice that Jan Blachowicz wasn't just a guy at 205, but was going to be a guy who could be around top 5 and maybe even going to be a champion, which he went to become. I just can't pick Luke Rockhold, dude. It's been too long. You know what I mean? It's been too long that in the UFC that he hasn't fought. And his chin hasn't been the same since Michael Bisping knocked him out. And I remember back in the day when he beat Whiteman, it was like, dude, it's going to be super difficult to beat Luke Rockhold for some time. And he completely underestimated Bisping, and it completely destroyed his career in the UFC, in my opinion.
Completely agreed.
Yeah. I have to pick Costa here, man. I'm picking him with a first round knockout as well. I think even in shape, out of shape, 205, 185, I think Costa has the power to knock him out. I think he does it as well, first round. Yeah,
I've never liked Rockhold's chin. I bet a big bet on Vitor Belfort back in the day, back when Vitor was on TRT. Yeah, that's great. Remember on the spinning hook kick, remember he was that TRT Vitor, whatever they call it. Like, he was one of the best fighters of all time. That stretch where he knocked out Bisping, Henderson, and Rockhold had the close fight with Jones, where he didn't have the close fight, but the armbar was like,
I
was that fight too. I saw some amazing fights in the day, man. Fuck. Yeah, how could you pick him? How could you pick Rockhold here? Yeah, you know what? His ground game is phenomenal, but will he have a chance to get it to the ground? Probably not, because he'll probably be in orbit. Like, Costa knocks him out, guys. I can't see this fight going any other way. I really can't. If Rockhold had a better chin and could survive a punch, yes, he could win this fight for sure. But the chin's gone.
Let's be honest. If you look at the complete package, like overall fighter, Rockhold is the better fighter in my opinion.
He is, but it doesn't matter because his chin is garbage.
Yeah, exactly. And he hasn't fought for so long time. And hasn't won for such a long time. And Costa is still in this thing, although I think he's also like, he doesn't really care about it. But I still think he knocks him out. I would be surprised if Rockhold wins here. But would be fun if he does, but I don't see it happening.
I still remember that Bisping fight. I was at the bar with my buddies watching that one. I was an absolute fucking... That card, UFC 199, was actually an amazing card. One of the best cards of all time. Amazing, underrated card. Such a good card. But that knockout, place went crazy. Crazy.
Can I remember the how do you say that? The commercial in between. Can you see me now? Can you see me now? And then Joe is like, what was that? What was that?
Yeah, man.
For 200.
Yeah. He's a great fighter, but the chin is not there, and that's why he'll lose again. Paulo Costa knocks him out first round, I think. What do you think? First round?
Yeah, first round. Yeah. Although I think as long as if it goes longer, it favors Rockhold, to be honest, man. I think because Costa gasses at a certain moment, but I think he knocks him out.
Yeah. Joe, Branch almost KO'd Luke too. The cut to 185 can't help his chin. I agree. You know what? I'm surprised this fight's not 205, guys. I got to be honest with you because Costa. Apparently he's on weight, but we'll see on Friday. But Rockhold, all the damage, all the wars. You thought that his last couple fights had been at 205. That's the only other thing I'll say is that his last couple fights were at 205, but I don't know. I mean, or the last fight I should say it's Blachowicz. The Romero fight was a catch weight, I guess, because he missed the Romero missed weight. But yeah, I just can't. The chin's not going to hold up. Costa wins, knockout. What's the odds on it? We got to check it out. By the way, Aldo by decision is plus 185 in the last fight. By knockout, it's plus 425. So that's interesting. Costa by knockout, minus 150. Again, not a great line because you have to lay a little juice, but I think that's what happens here. Under 1.5 is plus 120. I don't really like one and a half rounds usually, but this is one where I'd look at it because I think he knocks him out the first. Costa first round plus 185. Costa second round plus 350. I don't even think it gets to the third round. I think it'd be first, maybe second round. Pretty confident he wins. So Costa won a fifth for Torres Carter isn't that bad. Should be worse given all the beast. I mean, you're right. I agree. What's up, Sergio? How's it going, man? It's good to see you guys back. Thought we had no picks this week. So we moved the show to a different day now. You might have not have known. So I'll just remind you guys. Yeah, it's going to be Mondays, 5 to 7 p.m. So 2 podcasts Monday. I just had to push it back an hour today because I had an appointment earlier. But next week will be at Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So just wanted to make a note of that. All right, let's get to the main event. Marcel, looking forward to talking about this one with you, man. We got Kamaru Usman against Leon Edwards, the rematch. Odds on this one, Usman minus 350, plus 290 on Edwards. What do you think? Nigerian Nightmare or Rocky? Who wins?
Yeah, this is actually an easy pick, in my opinion, and there's no disrespect to Leon Edwards at all. But Kamaru Usman is just a better fighter overall, in my opinion. He is still... I got a question on another podcast: who is doing better, Kamaru Usman or Israel Adesanya? And for me, that's clearly Kamaru Usman. I think
because he's finishing, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's always he's still going he's going up. He's getting better every time I see him.
I saw this kind of like this, he's going up a little bit, but not really. I know Usman's like this, right? Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. And for Edwards, listen, man, Edwards, solid fighter, good fighter, underrated guy. Even the UFC puts him as Jamal Hill instead of Edwards. So, yeah, I feel he can give a competitive fight to Usman, but I still think Usman wins. And Usman knows as well that his wrestling probably even better. And Edwards' ground game is normally better than his stand-up game, and I think Usman is just better everywhere. Do I see a finish? Maybe, but I think Usman wins a decision here. Maybe a late finish with ground and pound, but I think he gets a decision win.
Man, I think it'll be competitive. I so want to say that Edwards can win, but it's just for me, it's just almost impossible to pick against Usman. That's what it's coming down to for me, Marcel, because I actually think Edwards could win this fight by decision. I think on the feet, he could, stick and move his way to a decision. But again, Usman is literally the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. He already has a win over him. I watched the fight again this afternoon, Marcel. I just wanted to remember what happened, right? So it was competitive the first 2 rounds. It was 1-1. Usman was looking okay, and then Edwards was doing pretty good in the feet. But the third round, he went to the wrestling and dominated the third round. I think in this fight, the stand-up will be competitive, and Colby was doing well against him in that fight. Was winning the last couple of rounds. Edwards is a great striker, but like I said, I just think the ground is the biggest difference. And if you look at that third round, that first fight, again, third round was 3 and 5. He was 3 for 5 in takedowns with 4 minutes and 4.5 minutes of control. I know his takedown defense has improved, guys, since 2015. And again, I think he has a chance to win this fight. I just can't pick him out, right? I can't do it. I just think it's hard to pick against Usman. 15 straight wins in the UFC. Like, how do you pick against that, right? And there's so much riding on this line. If he wins this fight, he ties Anderson Silva's record, okay, for the most wins in the UFC at 16. If he wins his next fight, he breaks the all-time record. It probably against Hamza or her. If Nate Diaz wins, it'd be against him, I guess. But you know what I mean? So there's so much riding him. And here's the other thing, Marcel, I got to be honest. After seeing his brother knock out Pauga, I'm like, fuck this. I'm not betting against either of these guys ever again. Like, I'm just not doing it. I'm not betting against the Usmans. They're too good. I can't do it. Especially Kamaru. The guy, again, Edwards is good. His competition's been okay. But Nate Diaz is, just okay. And again, he did get rocked in that fifth. He was looking okay before that. But you're right. Marcel, a lot of that fight was him taking down Edwards or Diaz. Like, it wasn't necessarily on the feet where he's having success. He's always not going to take down Usman. So he only has one plan here. He only has a plan A. He can't take down Usman, okay? So his only plan A, he has to stay in strike. And Usman has plan A, he could stay in strike, or he has plan B, right? That's why you have to pick Usman. You have to do it. But I think Edwards, has a chance too. I just want to say that, So if on Saturday Edwards wins the decision, it wouldn't completely shock me. I'm not going to be like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. I just can't pick him outright, There's just too many advantages for Usman, especially with the grappling, that I can't pick him. And again, he already beat this guy before, and there's so much riding on it. But it's a good fight. I think it's competitive, and it should be really good. All right, let me go get some comments here. What would you fading Usman has to be scary? That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't do it, because again, I do think this guy has a chance, Edwards. But how could you fade Usman? It's like fading GSP. It's like fading Valentina. It just doesn't really pay off, Press the like button. Fuck yeah, man. There you go. What do you think? How do you guys rate the pay-per-view 1 through 10? This one, the actual pay-per-view of it, probably like an 8. Maybe the pay-per-view is good, but the overall card probably 7, I would say. You kind of agree on that, or?
7, yeah.
Yeah. Usman's falling off. Hands or knees are fucked. And also thinking about retirement. Also wants to duck Kamaev. Maybe he's on the decline a little bit. Again, I
haven't seen that so far.
I know, that's why I can't. I think if you're picking Edwards, you're projecting him, obviously, and you're fading Usman a little bit. But it's just like, I can't see that necessarily. That I do think, obviously, he's 35 now. He's going to start declining at some point, but I haven't really seen it yet. I agree with this too, though. I think he could win a decision, Marcel. I think if Leon wins, you'd say a decision, right? If Leon won, right?
Yeah, I don't think he stops him.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Plus 700. I think there's got to be a little value there, for a sprinkle. I think there's definitely a chance. How many wrestlers Leon fought since the Usman fight? Really,
Bilal?
I mean, Bilal he fought, and the fight didn't play out really. RDA does have good grappling, and Edwards took him down, but not really grappling. Actually, Roney took him down, if anything. That was surprising.
Gunnar was more of a BJJ guy, right?
Gunnar, too. Actually, that's another fight, though. That's another one where I'm tripping up here, because that fight was close, Marcel. I think the judges got it right, but I'm just saying, like, it was close, and Nelson does have good grappling, right? That's why I'm saying, like, if this fight only stays on the feet, like the Covington fights, it's going to be competitive, okay? But if it goes to the ground, that's where Usman wins. Because again, against Covington, to be honest with you guys, like, he couldn't really take Covington down, so he had to stand trade. And Covington did really well those last couple of rounds. So the signs of a decline potentially could be there, but again, it's against the number contender Covington. Covington, I think, is a better fighter than Edwards, and he beat him twice. Again, can't do MMA math; it doesn't always work. But
no, true.
I just always still think it's such an interesting fight, because this guy's been studying this dude for years. He's been thinking about this fight for years. Like, he doesn't fight at all because he's like, I want to fight Usman. I'm only going to fight Usman. Like, he hasn't fought in a year and a half. He's barely fought. Marcel, the last 3 years, he's only fought twice. That worries me. I know he says he's getting better in the gym, but I haven't seen the cage. Whereas Usman has been fighting two times a year. He's fought 3 times last year, and then once the year before that, and twice the year before that. So in the last since So the last couple of years, he's fought 5 times, and Edwards twice. So, I mean, unless you want to count the fight with Bilal, which really wasn't a fight. I just think it's an interesting fight. I'm not 100% sure Usman wins, but I'm pretty sure he wins. If that makes sense. The fact that Edwards turned out shot in 2020 doesn't sit well with me. I think there's a fear there. It's a very small gym with lack of quality in his weight class. But I mean, it's worked out well so far for him in his career, but this is the fight where it catch up, right? You're fighting literally the best guy in the world. That's what he's not only the best welterweight, he's the best fighter in the world. He's literally the best MMA fighter in the world. It's just hard to pick against him. But I was also thinking today, GSP should have lost to Johnny Hendricks, so you never know where someone's going to have your number. So that's the thing. You got Southpaw Colby explain the same holes, comes down takedown. I agree completely. I completely agree with this, and I think he can get him down. That's the thing. I think he can do it. How's the Edward fight going backwards? Not bad. Fight's okay. Just okay though. I watched the Nate Diaz fight back too, and to be honest, Nate did better than I thought in that fight. It was on the feet. On the ground is where Edwards was running that fight. He took him down, Marcel. He held him there. Can he do that against Usman? I don't think so. Juan likes to be down. I mean, the odds are great. Usman has won on the chin. Flash RDA upkick. He's never been. Has Usman ever been dropped? I don't think he's ever even been dropped. Let me double check that though. No, he's got 0 knockdowns against and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Has 10 knockdowns, 4 and 0 against in the UFC. Edwards has 1, 2, 4 knockdowns, 4 and 1 against. So that's interesting. He did get dropped by Brian Barberino in Edwards. I don't really see Usman knocking him out, but I guess it's possible too. Possible. Most valuable spots in the card. Let's ask me that in a few minutes. I just want to finish up. Actually, no, you can ask me that now. I guess we're finished the card. This is it. No, it's the last fight, right? I mean, Aldo, I do think I liked Aoriqileng early in the card. He's going to be on my best bets for bookies.com. I'll have my article out, I think, tomorrow. But yeah,
Maverick.
I think Maverick. I mean, but yeah, she's another one I'm confident. But I think the way to go with that fight is inside the distance.
Yeah.
Hunsucker wins by knockout for sure. Costa by knockout would be another one. But yeah, just going over the picks quickly. I had Usman, Costa, Aldo, Romanov, Pedro, Gordon, Pudilova, Woodson, Maverick, Fletcher, Albazi, Aoriqileng, and Altamirano. That's what scares you, though, guys, because I only picked one dog. I usually pick like 3 dogs a card.
We only have 2 different, right?
I know, that's scary. Isn't that there's going to be an upset we didn't see coming? There has to be. There's got to be one, right? Just that's what I always say. Like, you almost want to avoid the landmines more than anything. Avoid those fights you're not 100% confident on. Like a AJ Fletcher, Ange, Loosa. For me, that's one we got different. I'm just gonna stay away from it. Like again, I think the guy wins, the ghost, but the last ninja might surprise. That's Marcel's guy, right? So, all right, that's it for this card, guys. I hope you enjoyed that podcast. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that with you, Marcel. I'm looking forward to this card. It's gonna be awesome. All right, let's quickly before we get here, guys. We're just gonna quickly go over PFL and Dana White's Contender Series. For PFL, Marcel, we'll just do the main card, obviously.
Okay, put it on the screen.
Yep, I'll put it up right now.
All right.
Pulling it up. Here we go. Kayla Harrison is like minus 3,000. She's absolutely going to win this fight, obviously, by stoppage. Harrison, is her line in here? But no, there's no props out. Actually, she's minus 5,000. So
They should stop putting her as the main event, dude.
This is, I mean, but this card's not very good. This is one of the worst ones they've had, I think. Like, if you look at it, it's not good. Chris Wade is the favorite here against Brandon Laughlin, which surprised me a little bit because I think Laughlin is pretty good, and Wade has always been a dog, and now all of a sudden he's a favorite, minus 245, Laughlin plus 180. I guess I'll lean Wade, but I think Laughlin could win this fight. Again, a fight I would avoid. Any thoughts quickly?
Yeah, I feel like Wade can. I think Wade is a pretty decent fighter. I always liked him in the UFC as well.
Yeah.
And for Brandon Laughlin, it's I think it's at home for him, right? It's in England.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think he has a chance, man. I think he could win this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's dog or pass in my opinion. Larissa Pacheco is minus
she wins.
670. She wins for sure. And then this one, Bubba Jenkins is minus 400, I think. Yeah, minus
Bubba wins.
He wins too. So the finals should be Bubba and Wade, which didn't they just fight like 2 fights ago? I think they did, right? No. Actually, yeah, they did. They fought earlier this year, Marcel, or last year. Last year they fought. And Chris Wade won the decision in that fight. I would favor Chris Wade again if that's the finals. If it's against Laughlin, that's I think even a more interesting fight, to be honest with you. So
I agree.
anyways, that's it for that. And then the other thing I want to do was Contender Series. Pull this up really quick here, and we'll do this card. Was there? I didn't see the weigh-ins. Everyone made weight or what?
Yeah, everybody made weight. By the way, do you know who's that creepy guy who always has that Zip Recruiter ad in between the contenders? So it's like Zip Recruiter, the official partner of UFC. It's like super creepy.
That's funny. I don't know.
You should pay attention to it on Tuesday. You hear it. I will DM you when it's there.
All right, let's go through these fights and do that for sure. All right, Dana White's Contender Series. Pull it up here, guys. All right, so first, well, I guess we'll go from top to bottom. Thomas Paul against Esteban Ribovic. Odds for this one: Ribovic minus 285, Paul plus 240. What do you think? I heard these guys are pretty good. I think it'll be a good fight. What do you think?
Yeah, me too, man. I favor Ribovic in this fight, but I think it will be a good fight. It's not they didn't put this main event just for fun. They think this is going to be a good fight. I think so too.
Yeah, for sure. Next fight here: Claudio Ribeiro against Ivan Valenzuela. Valenzuela, it's a pick of minus 110 each. What do you think?
What do you think?
I don't know. That's why I asked you.
That's why I asked you.
No. I did look into them briefly, but this is not a fight I would want to bet on personally because I feel like they're both very unproven. So it's just one I would watch and kind of learn about these guys. I mean, I think the Lux Fight League is a good proving grounds for guys. Ribeiro also is on a nice win streak. I guess I would favor Valenzuela really slightly because I think Lux Fight League, the guys coming out of there are really good, but that's the only reason why. What do you think?
I agree with you. Yeah.
Jack Cartwright and Jose Janssen. This is interesting because it opened as a huge favorite for Jack Cartwright. Now he's the underdog. So it's minus 105 and then minus 115. So basically they pick him. But yeah, I'm seeing he's plus 105 out there, Jack Cartwright. I'm very surprised by that. I know Johnson's got some good wins recently in Fury. He beat Mo Miller. But I'm surprised by these odds. Like, Jack Cartwright's undefeated. He's a very good prospect coming over from Cage Warriors. He's never lost. Most of his wins. His last win was the other guy headbutted him and lost. It was kind of weird. I was favoring Cartwright. I'm surprised he's now the dog. What do you think?
I agree with you, man. With Jack Cartwright, the guy with the red tail. I think he wins. He's a good fighter. He also got a win over Gerardo Fani, which is one of my countrymen. Former champion Cage Warriors relinquished the title because he didn't want to fight for Cage Warriors anymore. And now he gets his chance in the Contender Series. So,
And we got minus 120 on Haley Cowan against Claudio Late. I've heard nothing but good things about Cowan. James, our boy, has been telling us about her for a while. Invicta, an LFA veteran. Does have some submission losses, which is something to keep in mind, obviously, against this girl who could submit you coming off a submission win. Again, I don't think I can bet on her, Marcel, just because they're so unproven, but my pick is Cowan.
I agree with you. And plus, Cowan, got to say it, man, she looks very good as well. So she's very marketable, I think, for the UFC.
Yeah, that's the word, marketable, exactly.
Yeah. And she's, I like what I saw from her fights. I've seen many fights of her, actually. I think she fought for CFFC or for CES or whatever. At least these kind of promotions she fought for. She's a good fighter. I think she wins.
Last fight, Nazim Sadikov against Ahmad Hassanzadeh. It's the name so long they can't even put it here. Odds minus 195 on Nazim, plus 165 Hassanzadeh. I guess I'll just defer to the odds here and lean towards this guy. He's coming off some really good wins, a lot of power, obviously. But again, I just think you really have to do your research on this card. I think it's not as easy as last week's card, where it was like all big favorites. This is a tougher card, I believe, because some of these fights are a little bit more well matched, in my opinion.
I'm taking Sadikov, by the way, here.
Yeah, both of the same pick. All right, let's just get the last comment here. Glenn, you missed it because we did mention it in the last podcast. Marcel brought up, I think, in the last podcast. But yeah, Mike Jackson's fighting Pete Rodriguez. I was like, what the hell? So that was that. Okay, that's it for this podcast, Marcel. Man, that was a lot of fun. Glad to be back on Monday nights, guys. You know, it's good. Glad, Marcel, appreciate you doing the show with me, man, as always. Hope you're still awake. I know you had that monster energy, so you should be okay. Plug your stuff, man. Let's get out of here. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys. We did the full hour, so that was a ton of fun today. Go ahead, Marcel.
Hell yeah. Big Marcel24, Twitter, Instagram, still the same. Articles, Eurosport.nl, mixed martial arts section. And I hope to see you guys next week again.
Absolutely. So once again, just so everyone gets the note, it would be next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern. So 2 podcasts again. Next week we'll do the recap of 278. Then the second podcast we'll just preview Contender. We'll do any news or fight announcements too. We'll do some fight announcements next week.
A little bit of
Q&A as well. So we'll go as long as you guys want, and we'll just talk. That'll be next Monday. So yeah, I'll plug my stuff quickly at Martin on Twitter. As you guys know, like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about the podcast. The more the merrier. Had some new people here today. It's awesome to see you guys, and obviously some veterans of the podcast. Really enjoy it. It's always more fun when you're talking to people. Bookies.com, best bets out tomorrow. MiamiNews.com, MMAOBDaily.com. Marcel, I'm going golfing with my buddy James Lynch this week and Cole Shelton, 2 friends of the podcast. That's going to be a lot of fun. Haven't seen those guys in a while, so it's going to be awesome hanging out with them. And one day I'm going to meet you, man, in person. Like you're going to come here one day, and we're going to hang out too. So, or I'll go there or something, and I'll have some space cake with you out there in Amsterdam or something like that. So we'll have some fun one day, man. But appreciate you guys joining us on the show today, guys. Last couple of comments here. Worth it says, thanks for the stream, boys. Keep you sharp, man. No problem. I love doing it. We'll get out of here, guys. Peace.